Greetings and happy Thanksgiving. I'm Marina Orms of Astrology Heals at astrologyheals.com, and this is video 4 in our Countdown to 2020 series. Today we're going to be talking about the symbolism of Jupiter, and Jupiter is a perfect planet to talk about today because Jupiter has to do with abundance and indulgence and expansion. And we have had Jupiter in its own sign of Sagittarius for the past year. So not only do we have a new moon in Sagittarius, which is the planet that is ruled, or the sign that is ruled by the planet Jupiter, but we also have the planet Jupiter going into a new sign on December 2nd. So just right around this Thanksgiving time, whether you're watching during the time that this video is released or watching it at a different time, this is true that this energy of Thanksgiving is connected to the energy of this Thanksgiving is connected to the energy of Jupiter, of indulgence and enjoyment. Really, expansion and optimism are the hallmarks of Jupiter and Jupiter's energy. And Jupiter is one of the big 3 planets that are involved in the alignments that are coming next year. So the astrological transits that are significant in 2020 include 3 planets in Capricorn. We've talked already about Pluto and Saturn, and Pluto and Saturn, both in Capricorn, continue to get closer and closer to each other now. As of the release of this video, they are just over 3.5 degrees apart. So as we go through these videos, they'll be getting closer together. And we have Jupiter now just about, as I mentioned, to go into Capricorn, joining those other 2. So Jupiter spends about a year in a sign, and it is going to be in early Capricorn, making its way throughout 2020 to a conjunction meeting with Pluto in 3 separate times in 2020, and then finally a meeting with Saturn, or conjunction, at the end of the year, right after both planets go into Aquarius. So we'll have a lot to look forward to, and that's what this video series is about, is helping you understand. So if you missed the first 3 videos, you can catch them on my Astrology Heals Facebook page or my Astrology Heals YouTube channel. Please go check those out, and if you want to get an email with all of the links to all of the videos, go to astrologyheals.com and sign up for my email newsletter, and you'll get a free gift, and you'll get email communication from me with links to all of these videos so you don't miss anything. So that's the best way to catch everything. And we talked about the symbolism of Saturn in an earlier video. We talked about the symbolism of Pluto, and today, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the symbolism of Jupiter and how Jupiter plays into these alignments of 2020. So as Jupiter moves through, it spends about a year in a sign, so it'll be about 1 year in Capricorn, and throughout that time, passing by all of the planets that are in Capricorn. So that happens to be Saturn and Pluto, because those slow-moving planets are coming together in Capricorn. As I mentioned, that's something that happens about once every 35 years or so, give or take a couple years. So, big deal. And how Jupiter is involved in those transits of 2020 is that it will be meeting with Pluto. It will be meeting with Saturn and bringing its influence to bear on the energies that are already present. So what are the energies of Jupiter? Jupiter, as I mentioned, is the planet of expansion and abundance, and it has to do with growth. It's a gas giant in the solar system, so it has to do with where things are growing and how where the archer is aiming the arrow. So as we create our set of beliefs, that is what we are aiming our arrows towards. So looking at our beliefs and our belief systems is a big part of what Jupiter brings us. And for the past year, Jupiter has been in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So these are two energies of expansion and abundance. There's a sense of overinflation when Jupiter is in Sagittarius. So there can be a tendency to believe in things excessively. So maybe an unrealistic trust in what is, or in behaving as if certain things are true when the reality is otherwise. And so as Jupiter goes into Capricorn on December 2nd, we're going to have a reality check. We're going to experience the energy of consequences, of responsibility for actions that have been that have taken place in the past. Also a sense of responsibility for the actions we take now and the consequences those will bring for the future. And so with Jupiter going into Capricorn, we have a shift in energy. As I mentioned, Jupiter's been in Sagittarius, this expansive, open, abundant, exploratory, optimistic, enthusiastic sign. Now Jupiter, the planet of optimism and enthusiasm, is going to go into this restrictive sign of Capricorn that reminds you of your limitations, that feels very serious, that reminds you of your responsibilities and the consequences of your actions and your choices and your beliefs. And so as Jupiter goes into Capricorn, there's going to be some reevaluation, some really, some awareness of reality, hard reality and truths, and how we need to adjust our belief systems based on those inescapable realities and consequences. So for all of us together in the collective, this is true, but it's also true for us in our individual personal lives. And so looking at where you have perhaps placed your own faith and trust into something that was a little unrealistic, you might have to come back to earth. You might have to look at that again and reevaluate and decide what's really important to you. And the placement of Jupiter in Capricorn is going to invite us to do that. It's going to force us to do that, push us into that over the course of the next year. We're going to have this opportunity to look at what we believe in, what is really important to us, where we do want to be aiming our arrows and setting our goals, and how that can be based on something that is a little bit more realistic, a little bit more achievable. And then in that Capricorn energy, how we are taking responsibility for making it happen. So as we go through 2020 and these Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn energies are ripening and bringing the experience of limitation and challenge and consequences that pushes us into a place where we have to get creative, where we have to think about what's really important to us, who we really are, what we want to stand for, and how to do that from our own truth. This movement of Jupiter into Capricorn is going to ask us to do that in a more realistic, grounded, tangible way. And that's going to support this whole process as we go through these transits and look at what it is we want to create for the future. So the recent new moon in Sagittarius, a couple days before Thanksgiving, and then the placement or the shifting energy of Jupiter from Sagittarius into Capricorn on December 2nd. And then, of course, the energy of Thanksgiving and the travel that takes place, the sharing with family members might bring up some conversations and that might get you to get clear about your beliefs, that might ask you to get more realistic about how you talk about them, about get more grounded in what it is you are working for, standing in, arguing for, and how to do that, and where your energy is being wasted, and where you can be more effective in ultimately reaching that goal, and again, creating a goal that is realistic and achievable. Because we have some changes to make in the coming year, and we all need to participate in our own ways. So thank you for listening today and for connecting with the symbolism of Jupiter and how Jupiter will be involved in the transits as we go into 2020. The first way that Jupiter is involved is really on December 2nd, 2019, when it goes into Capricorn, and it starts to get us to look more realistically at our lives in this way. So we also have in these videos coming up, we'll be talking a little bit more about the energy of Capricorn. Our next video will go into the energy of Capricorn, how to work with it, how to not just do the hard work, but to feel grounded in your own truth, to be able to connect with your own center and your own authenticity and create an authority, your own authority from that place. And so we're going to be talking about that in our next video. And I have lots of great information still coming for you. We're going to be looking at your own chart and a piece of your chart that helps you understand your own life path and how to work with your own challenges in a way that can be healing and positive, and that helps you understand what your job is in the coming year. So I think you're going to love that. And we'll also be looking at some tools that astrology has to help you stay anchored in what's important to you and create it throughout the year. So I have lots to offer. Come back. We're going to have each video released on Thursday between now and January 12th, which is when that conjunction between Saturn and Pluto takes place. So again, go to astrologyheals.com to sign up for my email newsletter, and you'll get all the links to these videos. Stay tuned, watch for me on Facebook and YouTube, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.